Hello, welcome back everyone to Strategic Management class. Today we are going to learn about the strategic plan. So, what is a strategic plan? Well, a strategic plan is functioning for companies to set priorities within the companies. So we want to set what are the goals, where we want to achieve in the next few years, and what are the steps in order to achieve the goals. And then it's also used to adjust and assess the organization's direction, whether the current direction is already as what the vision and mission of the company, or is it not aligned yet with what the top management and top executives want. And it's also to focus where the resource, energy will be allocated throughout the year for the company. And obviously, this will also strengthen the operation process of the company, as there is a clear guide of what the company will be doing for the next year. And it's also considered as an agreement on the intended outcome. So a strategic plan, in the sense, is a disciplined effort and also produces fundamental decisions and actions. It shapes and guides what an organization is, who it serves, what it does, and why it does what it does, with a focus of the future. And you might have heard this vocab, which is strategic plan. Strategic plan is the document, whereas strategic planning is the action of planning, formulating strategies, whereas the outcome, the real physical document, is called the strategic plan. So what is inside the strategic plan document? The strategic plan document is used by the top management to communicate what are their planning throughout the year to all of the employees through different levels of departments and also functions. What's inside it is the organization goals, and then the actions needed to achieve the goals, and then other critical elements that will be developed in order to implement the strategies. So, strategic planning is a process that is quite rigorous and also very carefully done within the company. Usually, for companies that have a relatively bigger size, they usually have several steps. Whereas companies that are quite small, they would just have an annual meeting within the top management or the managers, and they would create their strategic plan. However, for bigger companies, they usually have several levels. For example, they might hold an annual meeting for each department, which then will be brought up to several areas for different chiefs, and then the top management will finally hold the final annual meeting, and they will decide on the strategic plan. It calls as bottom-up approach. Whereas on the other hand, from top-down approach, the strategic planning will come from top management team, and it will be brought down to the senior managers, and then to the manager, mid-level managers, and then to the frontliners. Some companies usually only discuss the strategic plan within the top management level. Old companies or companies that are quite conventional in what they do and also their culture, they will only focus on the top management view. Whereas companies who are more agile, who are more current and modern, they might want to explain their strategic plan to even the frontliners in order to have an aligned actions. Now, for strategic planning, there are several ways to do it. The first step is actually to analyze what has been done, and then the second step is to formulate the strategy, and then the final step is to finalize the strategic plan itself. And after the plan is done, obviously the next thing is to execute the strategy. So there are three important elements of strategic planning. The first one is to answer the first question, that is, where is your business right now? This is actually all of the business practice analysis that you have done in the first module or in the first AFL1. So all of the analysis from the business vision, mission, goals, metrics, and then the internal analysis, the external analysis, the SWOT analysis, everything analyzed together into the business practice analysis. So that counts as where your business is right now. And then the second element of strategic planning is actually to answer the second question, which is where do you want to take your business to? So this step should be the foundation for the final plan and to motivate change. Obviously, if there is a new strategy, it means that your company is not doing the same thing again. It means if you're not doing the same thing, there is obviously a change going to happen. And then the third part or the final element of the strategy plan is to answer the third question, which is what do you need to do to get there? And this is actually to find out what changes will you need to make in order to deliver on your strategic objectives. Now, there is one thing that most lectures or maybe strategic management course will not teach you, and that is we use this strategic plan to find out problems and gaps within your company, and we try to solve them with a new plan. So in this case, we're using the strategic plan as a problem-solving tool. If you take a look at this diagram, you can see that there is a problem identification section, and then you try to find out the problem, and then you try to find out the solution to the problem. Let's take a look at the first part, which is the problem identification. There is a desired state and there is an actual state. And in between the desired and the actual state would be the gap. So the logic is that the desired state would be your business vision, mission, objectives, and goals. It's where do you want to be in the future and what do you want your business to be in the future. Whereas the actual state is actually what is your business doing right now? How is it going so far? And that is where your business practice analysis come into. So from the desired state and the actual state, there is obviously a gap. And that gap, you need to find out from that gap what is actually the problem causing that gap and what might be a future problem if you don't do anything about it might be hindering you to achieve your desired state. Now, after you have found out the problem, then you move on to the final part, that is to trying to find out the solution to the problem. And that is through trying to find out and generating a lot of strategies or maybe tactics and some ideas in order to solve this problem. So you will try to find out as many alternatives as possible, and with that alternative, your team will select the best solution. And that solution would be your new business strategy, which will be included in your new strategic plan. Alright, that is all about strategic planning. See you at the class. Salam entrepreneur.